With you at all times. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it to a member of staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016. See it, say it, sorted. aboard the Southern service to London Victoria. The next station is Gatwick Airport.
You're arriving at Gatwick Airport. If you're leaving us at Gatwick Airport, please make sure that you take all of the belongings with you and your luggage as well. Please keep them with you all hands whilst walking through the train station and the airport. The train will then leave Gatwick and go directly to London Victoria. So once again, the next station stopping is Gatwick Airport. Thanks for travelling with us today, and we hope you have a safe and pleasant forward journey. Thank you.
We are now approaching Gatwick Airport. Please do not leave unattended items of luggage in the train or on the station.
Lifetime warranty, the black ones?
They probably do about Christmas.
No, but is it like just show up and be like, hey? Just don't have my pretty face on.
Welcome aboard the Southern service to London Victoria. The next station is London Victoria. Please keep your bags and personal belongings with you at all times. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it to a member of staff.
Like, we were in such a rush, I like prepped
British
everything.
Transport
Oh yeah, I think that's the direction of things.
Say it, sorted.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I agree. It does change things.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard your Gatwick Express service to London Victoria. My name's Andy. I'll be on board supervisor for the rest of the trip. This train will call London Victoria only. 8 coaches long, first class in each passengers holding first class tickets only. All the rest of the train is third class. Please keep bags and coach off seats and leave on the train of all luggage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Gatwick Express service.
Otherwise it's Leo now, and that's Leo out of the window.
Leonard, really?
But I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know, I think that they actively watch well now, so it works on the first go.
arriving into London Victoria, where this train terminates. All change. Do mind the gaps in the train and the platform edge when light in this service. Have your tickets ready for the automatic ticket barriers at the front of the station. From all of us at Gatwick Express, thank you very much for choosing to travel with us today. Wish you a safe on the journey. Have a fantastic rest of your Easter break. Thank you.
Victoria, our final destination.
Yeah, but it's from.
Thank you for travelling with
I know
Southern.
because there's big as
Please remember
Yeah.
to take all your belongings with you when you leave the
They are
train.
best.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
I know, but
right now. That's the concept. Yeah. Jeez. You're right.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm excited for the house journey.
Shit, you're gonna balloon up the
no, I'm not having it.
Aren't you? You're just making it. I'm ready. You're not just gonna.
Yeah, I'll probably like taste one or two. But this one is actually. Just really Do you see this bag?
What is MC's like? Thank you. I just wanted to know if you should put us. It's cool.
And I was like, that's quite a nice
Yeah, I think so.
thing to get. It's like, it's waterproof. It's like a good travel bag.
It's what it's down there anyway.
It's not there.
It's a nice one to do it with packing.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm just saying.
Upgrade from like the Goldman Sachs
Yeah.
right? Rico has a.
I mean, the only thing I ever got was a notepad.
One of my colleagues who's a headhunter who's never worked with people.
No.
Like, walks around with him and everything, and I'm like, hey, can you, like,
Trying too hard.
you're not from there, like, what are you trying to be? Like, you need to be trying to be, like, exactly. Like, I think that's what it wants to be out of experience. And I'm like, yeah, well, like, I'm thinking of LinkedIn, like, yeah, like, it's been a bit of a I love it when he does that. It's great. Zip scratch.
The next train to depart from platform 14 will be the 2059 Gatwick Express service to Brighton via Gatwick Airport. Calling at Gatwick Airport, Haywards Heath and Brighton. This train is for the 8 coaches. Platform 14 for the 2059 Gatwick Express service to Brighton via Gatwick Airport. Please make sure you have the correct ticket to travel on this service. Will passengers intending to travel on this service please join the train now as it is ready to leave. Platform 14 for the 2059 Gatwick Express service to Brighton via Gatwick Airport, which is ready to leave. Platform 16 for the 21.
Well, I'll be famous. I'll be signing autograph for me. You're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard your Gatwick Express service to Brighton. My name's Andy, I'll be on board supervisor for your trip today. This train's calling at Gatwick Airport, Haywards, Brighton only. Once again, Gatwick Airport, Haywards, Brighton only. Thank you.
Welcome aboard the Southern service to Brighton. The next station is Gatwick Airport. Please keep your bags and personal belongings with you at all times. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it to a member of staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016. See it, say it, sorted.
We just went through Clapham. I missed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, shortly arriving at Gatwick Airport. Gatwick Airport is your next station stop. If you're leaving the heads here, please mind the gap between the train and the platform and rely on this service.
We are now approaching Gatwick Airport. Please do not leave unattended items of luggage in the train or on the station. You cannot use Oyster or contactless payment beyond this station. Please leave the train here or you may have to pay a penalty fare. Gatwick Airport. This train is the southern service to Brighton, calling at Haywards Heath and Brighton. The next station is Haywards Heath. Welcome aboard the Southern Service to Brighton. The next station is Haywards Heath. Please keep your bags and personal belongings with you at all times. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it to a member of staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016. See it, say it, sorted.
Gatwick Express service to Brighton, calling at Haywards Heath in Brighton. My name is Simone. I shall be walking through this train shortly, and if you have any ticket queries or assistance requirements, please feel free to stop and I will try and help you as I roll through. Next station is Haywards Heath. Thank you.
now approaching Haywards Heath. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Southern service to Brighton. The next station is Brighton.
That's the only thing I was
We are now approaching Brighton, our final destination. Thank you for travelling with Southern. Please remember to take all your belongings with you when you leave the train. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. destination. Thank you for travelling with Southern. Please remember to take all your belongings with you when you leave the train. Please keep your bags and personal belongings with you at all times. If you see something that doesn't look right, report it to a member of staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016. See it, say it, sort it.